And welcome to the Water Cooler. Yes, thank you very much. Where we give our thoughts on the latest and greatest content that's out there. For the Gen Zers out there, a water cooler is a place where you would go get water or go get a drink when you go at work. In the before time, in the era of office spaces and cubicles.
Work is what you do at a job.
Work is what you do at a job, exactly. But I guess we've got a little bit of a Zelda theme going on our stream now, I guess.
Nice.
But yeah. This is and just like the old-fashioned water cooler, spoilers will be kept to a minimum as to not spoil anything for our lovely coworkers, but there will definitely be some spoilers, so you have been warned. We're going to be talking about the first 3 episodes of Wandavision here, so let's get to it. The first 3 episodes of Wandavision are out, and they are leaving fans even more confused than when the series started. The plot has been building slowly, but in a way that's honestly really kept us hooked. The first 2 episodes are entirely in black and white and resonate with a 50s sitcom vibe, while episode 2 moves about a decade ahead. So the first 2 episodes to me seemed pretty slow, and even in the third, we still have very little answers on what actually is happening in the show. Now, with that said, you know, I do like the pace of the show right now. I think that it's kind of, you know, having me ask more questions than I'm actually getting answers for, and that's keeping me very, very interested. But what do you guys think? Is the show paced at an appropriate rate, or as the ska band say, do they need to pick it up, pick it up, pick it up, pick it up?
So can I start off for this for a second? Because I did not watch the Avengers, and I have no idea who Wanda or Vision are, and I'm very confused going into this show. Is that a confusion that you face too, or is it, like, do we know anything about this?
You're just as confused as the rest of us.
You're with us. Yeah. We're all confused.
We're all in the same spot.
So we're all here. I mean, it definitely would have helped with probably like make you more enduring to the characters. You know what I mean? If you had watched some of the other stuff, but to be honest, like we really have no idea like what's kind of going on or where this is. And so like that was honestly going to be one of the big questions for you guys. Like, I know you're a bigger Marvel fan, right?
How long have you been married?
It's been a while since I've watched.
Don't you have children yet?
The full like Marvel Cinematic Universe.
I think what my wife means to say is
where do you think this is even at right now?
Move from where?
I from what I've done the research on, this is all after Avengers, and that's what I've been kind of post Thanos, and so Vision should be dead, is what I'm thinking. And we have a couple of moments.
Talk online about that. Like, is Vision dead?
This is gonna be
Where did
you
my personal theory right now with this is that everything going on in WandaVision is happening because Wanda is making it happen in her own projected reality. And I think that you can see a lot of that with, you know, especially in episode 3 with her animosity towards you know, the towards the end there, and kind of ejecting that person out of the whole sphere. She was the one that really took control in that moment, and so I'm thinking that she may be kind of the big string puller behind what is Westview.
And that's my theory too, that it's all Wanda.
Right. That's what I'm thinking.
Heavy, like pulling the strings, because you get that kind of like feel in season 3, especially, or season 3, Jesus, in episode 3, because whenever the girl starts asking a lot of questions, some things start getting a little crazy, and so it's just like, oh man, so it's Wanda. Like that's what I picked up from it anyway. It's gonna be really interesting to see, you know, like how they do it. But can our guy Kevin and dude, how do I pronounce his last name? I'm drawing a blank on it.
Which one?
I literally Googled it earlier. The director.
Kevin Feige.
Kevin Feige, right?
Feige? I think so.
Feige?
Yeah.
No, I think it's
Feige.
Kevin Feige.
Is it?
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. Maybe.
Anyway. I didn't get that wrong either.
When I Wikipedia'd it, it said Feige. And I was like, that doesn't sound right. But anyway, somebody make a clip of that, send it to him, we'll go viral. But can he do anything wrong at this point? Like, I know it's like everybody's a little confused right now, but dude, he knocked it out of the park with Mando. So like, I think we're still going to tune in every week just to see where this thing goes, right?
Yeah, I like his confusion too. Like, it's not like a bad thing that I'm confused. It feels very trippy, very surreal, and I love your guys' like theory. I didn't even think that. I just thought they were sort of in this like Truman Show type space where they're like the only real things, and everyone else is kind of like an actor that's like messing with them, or kind of like they're being observed for some reason. And I mean, maybe that could tie back to the snap and him not being dead. It's like, no, he's not dead. They like pulled these two people and they put them in this thing so no one would think about them. They would just think they're dead, and now they can like do their little experiments on their mental state. I don't know.
That is interesting. That is an interesting theory too. If it is like kind of like almost a experimental kind of like thing, because a lot of people seem to be actors, right? Like especially in episode 3, you get the feel that they kind of like know they're a part of something. Like even the neighbor was trying to talk to Vision, but was like, because we're all, like, and not to get like too, deep into it, but like that kind of made me feel like it was kind of a Truman Show vibe. But then like towards the end of it, it really picks up to make you kind of think Wanda has something to do with the whole thing as far as like running the show. It's kind of like, she's so powerful because she is kind of one of the, she's one of the few like magic powered Avengers, right?
I mean, so, from what they I mean, the Marvel Cinematic Universe has really watered down the idea of magic in the universe. They always try to make it a very science-based, even with her, like they talked about like, oh, she has telekinetic and, try to use all this science jargon. And Steve Rogers is like, what? And they're like, she's weird. That was how they explained that one off. So they definitely try to kind of sweep magic under the rug, but in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, in the comics universe, Scarlet Witch is one of the biggest players in the game and one of the strongest magic users out there. The whole House of M storyline is based off her basically going crazy. So I think that we could be seeing a little bit of those storylines being picked apart there.
Someone in chat said she's maybe trapped, and then this is the world she's making because she's trapped, and so that's kind of like, it gives me almost Mr. Robot vibes.
That could be
that he's in prison and kind of like has this whole construct where he puts it all together. It's all kind of like fake, and then you find out at the end. Oh, spoilers for Mr. Robot if you guys haven't watched that season. But it's all like in his head. And so that could be definitely an interesting one. What's interesting, the most interesting thing about the show so far is that it really hasn't given us much, and it's been 3 episodes in. And so like I think it says a lot about Disney and their trust, in the directors here to kind of like keep us hooked, even though they've kind of given us almost nothing. And so so Braun, back to your very first question. Yeah, the whole world is confused right now, so you're in good company.
I was looking things up though because I wanted to know a little bit more about it, and I was looking up Scarlet Witch and her whole origin. Oh my gosh, she's so interesting. Like, she's Magneto's daughter, twins with Quicksilver. Oh my gosh, that's so cool.
Yeah, and there's definitely note of that in the series. If you get caught up to episode 3, and honestly, I think that was the first time in the Marvel Cinematic Universe that we acknowledged that she was a twin since Age of Ultron. But
they tried to kill off their Quicksilver pretty,
They did. It was a deal because Sony told them they could only take one of the characters moving forward, because at the time it was still it was 21st Century Fox, whoever owned X-Men at the time.
Yeah.
They said they could only use one of those characters moving forward, and they chose Scarlet Witch. So that's why he died back then. But now it's actually coming back into the plot. So now that Fox owns, Disney owns Fox and owns the rights to those, they can really do whatever they want.
They tried to bring it back into the plot, and then Wanda threw that shit out. So
right.
That's why I think. Yeah, I think that's why it's Wanda. Repressed memories.
Exactly.
Like, Thanos killed your brother, and Wanda's like, "What'd you say?" And then boom, she's kicked out. One thing before we transition though, or to anything else, is that, and I don't know if anyone else noticed this in episode 3. It was the transition that they did at the very end of the episode, where it went from like a tight shot from like an old school TV to a widescreen,
right,
and then like panned out or whatever. That transition where they did that fucking blew my mind.
Right.
I was like, dude, that is so cool. And I don't know, like,
great.
I know that's such a weird like thing to probably geek out about. And you know, like it probably like Kate, our producer who went to school for film, is probably just like, oh, that's an easy trick.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But like, I don't know. Like to me, I was like, that is such a cool way to showcase like we're out of like if it is Wanda's head, right? We're out of Wanda's head, right? And now we're in the real world where it's this widescreen view like you're used to seeing on your television, not that very tight kind of sitcom, you know, 60s, 70s sitcom kind of vibe. And so anyway, I thought that was a really cool thing that the directors or that they did to kind of like show that.
Yeah, same here. I thought it was fantastic. I thought that was a very cool transition. It was a very subtle way to kind of transition us into a different reality, a different time, whatever the case may be. We still don't really know. And the symbology throughout the entire series, I'm really excited to see where it goes. I think there's been some people that have been complaining because, you know, this isn't a typical Marvel beat 'em up, you know, like superhero story. But I think that within Marvel properties, you should have the room to expand and really create stories like this where you can be having a whole bunch of different elements come into it that might not necessarily be in play with other superhero shows.
Which I guess that's a good question for Braun. You know, with you not watching the other Marvel things, how did you feel about the sitcom feel of the show? Like the whole like vibe to it?
Oh, I really liked it because, I mean, I used to watch like I Love Lucy, and I just really felt like those similar tropes from that, but with this like, oh, there's magic involved, and this person is like some robot thing, and it was just really cool to see like all these classic tropes from a sitcom, but they were just like all a little bit like askew, like all a little bit turned on their heads, which that's what kept me captivated.
Nice. Yeah, no, I mean, I was really just like interested in that because I know Jessica, like my girlfriend, she's been watching it with me too, and like, you know, it was one of those where like the commercials just got her. She was like, and she's not a huge Marvel fan, but just watching the trailers was like, this looks trippy. I'll watch it.
Yeah.
So what maybe turning away some traditional Marvel fans, I think, is actually bringing in a whole different audience in a way.
I agree.
And then also keeping some of the hardcore fans because we're just like, what the fuck is going on? You know, like I need to know.
Yeah. No, absolutely.
It's more like a mind fuck than it is like we have to save the world from this impending doom. Yeah. But it's still using the characters from this world to do so, and I think that's really bold and a good move on Disney's part, Marvel's part.
Reminds me of Legion on FX a bit.
Yes.
I don't know if either of you guys got to watch
Yes, I did watch Legion, and I feel like it has big Legion vibes for sure.
Yeah. It's a phenomenal show. So.
Yes. Yeah, it was an absolutely phenomenal show, and I think it really, really. I agree that when watching WandaVision, I definitely got a bunch of Legion vibes because it does seem like this is happening in either someone's head, some alternate reality, something. I'm super excited to see what happens next, and it's good to have a new, you know, episodic Friday show to return to, right?
Yeah, got to fill that Mando void, guys.
For